A life policy is there as a substitute. It substitutes you. I want you to think about your role as a parent. Think about it. Your role as a parent starts from looking after those kids. You pay for their necessities. You take them to school. There's a lot that you are responsible for. When a child struggles, the first person that they call is you. You are responsible. You play a pivotal role. Child is attending education. You're responsible for their upkeep. The house that they live in, you are responsible for paying utilities, for paying rent. You are responsible for a lot of things that enable that child to have a certain lifestyle. So the thought then of a life policy is that when you are not there, remember, when you're not there, it means that that's a takeaway from that comfort. That's a takeaway from the income that was making everything flow, right? That's a takeaway that your kids need. They still need you. They have not yet worked. They are probably still, in school or at varsity or whatever. They still need you. They still depend on you. So then the thought process of a life policy is that it must come in as a substitute to play that particular role. Not to make them rich overnight. No, it is to play that particular role, and maybe then in the future they can get the rest of it. But the most important thing is that it must pay for those things that you were paying for, because now you are gone. Remember, a salary cannot last after you've passed. When you're gone, it's gone. So then those kids, if they still need education and all of these things, where will they get the funds? This is where the life policy comes in. So, which means you have to also think about them getting access to it in the same manner. You never, when you were alive, gave them 50,000 for themselves or 100,000. You gave them certain amounts on a month-to-month basis, based on their needs. That's exactly what that life policy is going to come and do, is to take care of those particular needs to ensure that the lifestyle continues, that they continue to be maintained, and things continue to operate as though you are still alive, as much as you're not there. Problem is that a lot of people, they don't see it from this perspective. Again, I think it's the knowledge aspect. They don't see it from this perspective, and they often say, no, it's okay. Let them get the millions. I want you to look at the kids who have gotten such amounts of monies. It becomes the worst. And it's not their fault even. Back in the day, people used to say, no, those kids are very irresponsible. A child, even when they are 20, they are still a child, as much as in terms of majority or age majority. At the age of 18, they are considered adults. At the age of 20, think about your 20-year-old if you're a parent. Think about yourself when you were 20. If somebody were to give you $1 million, what would you have done with it? Probably blown it. You would have probably blown it because, you're still a child. You are still learning. You have not even worked. You have not even handled anything. You've not had a responsibility. So how could somebody expect that you're going to be able to handle this amount of money? You're young. So try to manage this amount of money, because it's most of the time, thank you, Cleo, most of the time, this is the only source of real asset that you can leave behind, or financial asset that you're leaving behind. We need to be able to make sure that the school fees is going to be paid. Thank you, babes. We need to make sure everything that they need paid for can be paid for. And this, thank you, everyone. This will not happen if you just give them millions and then you throw it in their face. It doesn't work, guys. You have to try to manage this amount of money, because the plan is that it must take them somewhere. It must get them to a certain position. You get what I'm saying? It must work for them. That's why you're paying that life policy, right? And like I said, with the first issue, thank you, Rams. The issue, when somebody says to you life policy, try to educate yourself, right? When they said life policy to you, it's important, wada. Most of the time, they don't even explain to you to understand. Then you do your own research. You try to get your own knowledge to get an understanding about, okay, what this thing is, what you can do with it. What is it even? What is it for? Because it's not only to pay houses that are still owing at the banks. It's also to help your family.